On June 12th, we celebrate Women Veterans Day, a day to honor the brave women who have served our country with courage and sacrifice. These are the sheroes who have broken barriers, shattered stereotypes, and paved the way for generations to come. Their mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, and leaders. They are the backbone of our communities, and their contributions deserve to be recognized and celebrated. But for many women veterans, the battle doesn't end when they leave the service. They face unique challenges, from navigating the transition to civilian life to overcoming the invisible wounds of war and service. That's why She Serves Sheroes exist. We provide a safe haven, a community of support with resources to help women veterans thrive. We offer career coaching, mental health support, financial literacy workshops, and so much more. Your donation today will directly impact the lives of women veterans who have given so much for our country. It will help fund programs that empower women veterans to heal, grow, and achieve their potential. This Women Veterans Day, let's show our gratitude for the remarkable women who have served. Your support will make a real difference in their lives. So, join us in celebrating and empowering women veterans. Together, we can build a brighter future for those who have sacrificed so much.
Hi, my name is Renee Bob, and I'm a United States Navy veteran, and I currently own Renee Bob Training, LLC, where I teach individuals how to start their own business and grow their own business. And I also own the Grant Funding Academy, where I teach entrepreneurs and nonprofit agencies how to secure grant funding. The highlight of what I do is, as the owner of the Music City Icons, a semi-professional women's basketball team located in Nashville, Tennessee. So the number one resource that I would love to share with women veterans is artificial intelligence. You have to tap into AI, whether you use ChatGPT or you use Gemini as a tool, but you can use AI for every aspect of your business to kind of help you get organized, help you generate some additional income, and help you to pull together your life in the way that you need to. So I hope you tap into that AI. Thank you.
Thank you for joining the She Served Sheroes podcast for a very special episode with Senator Pat Spearman. We always start with the same question. What made you join the military?
Well, it started at Bishop College my freshman year when they told me I had to take a gym class. And I said, I'm in the marching band, so we're exempted from that. And, the person, my counselor said, no, you're not, you have to. And the only thing that was left was modern dance. I'm not getting ready to do no modern dance in front of the whole student body, as the final exam. Listen, my brothers and sisters told me I wasn't black because I didn't have rhythm. I wasn't getting ready to get out there dancing. So this guy, in ROTC, he said, come on over. He said, join ROTC and you can get credit for gym. I said, really? He said, yeah. So I joined it. And then I liked it. And it liked me back. And during my sophomore and my junior year of college, I'm looking around and I'm seeing there are like 25 jobs and 5,000 people are applying for them. And I'm like, I am not going to finish school and be broke. So I go on and do 2 years. I can do that, stand on my head. Okay. Another 4 years in reserves, whatever else it is, I can do that. But then I got in and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was a matter of serving and doing something that was greater than me and giving back. And it also helped that the men didn't want me there, and I'm obnoxious enough just to do it because you don't want me to do it. So I served. I was glad I would have served 40 years if I could have, but I had some injuries that were career-ending injuries, but I loved it. I got in because I didn't want to take gym, but I stayed in because I liked it, and I really felt like I was making a contribution. I was commissioned December 21st, 1977. I was 3 years old. No, no. And at the time that I was commissioned, it was about 2.5 years after, 3 years after the WAC Corps had been deactivated, and women were being assessed into the regular Army. Even though that was the policy, there's something about hearts and minds that you have to get, and that had not happened yet. So women were being assessed into the regular Army, but we were not being accepted into the regular Army. So during the course of my career, every place that I ever went, I always had to do more, had to be better than, had to be thinking ahead, always had to be looking around and trying to think to make sure that I never got caught in one of those trick bags, because some of my friends did. And when I say trick bag, I mean, people would do things or say things, and then it wouldn't work out, and they would blame the woman. The other thing that I know that happened, because it happened to me, was the time that I was sexually harassed, not assaulted, but harassed. And it was so close to assault, it was almost that. And it was 1986 in Panama. And my senior rating was an 06, a full bird colonel. I was a captain. And he called me to his office. He told me, he said, I need to see you. And I went by a couple of times. He said, well, I'll call you back. And one day he called me, he said, come on by my office. And he said, let's have a talk. I said, yes, sir. Grabbed my little stenographer's book. And, y'all don't know nothing about that because you got phones now. But, grabbed my little stenographer's book and went in and reported, Captain Spin reporting his orders, sir. Stand at ease, soldier. And I'm standing at ease, my hands behind my back, right, And he said, he had his hands on the desk. And after he said stand at ease, and when I did, he put his hands under the desk and he started doing, and I was like, he said, oh man, he said, I want to bang your bones. I was like, I thought I was going to pass out. And I said, I pulled my arms down to my side. I said, what does that mean, sir? He said, ooh, you grown, you know. I said, no, sir, I don't. I had no idea what that term meant. And then it occurred to me, he didn't just start masturbating, but he was continuing to masturbate in front of me and talk to me at the same time. Oh, wow. Those of you who have had that experience, you can feel it all over again. I feel exactly what I felt then. And he said, I can be very helpful to you in your career. And the inverse of that, the implied version of that is, I can also hurt your career. And, I was just praying. I was like, Jesus, please, Lord, please, Lord, please, Lord. I don't know how long it was, but it seemed like a lifetime. And, I guess when he finally got his pleasure, he said, dismissed. And I did an about face, and I got back to my office, and I was just shaking. And I put my stenographer's pad down, and I said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And my office mate walked in. He said, hey, Pat, he's another captain. He said, what's wrong? I said, I think I might have eaten something for lunch. I'm going to go back to the hotel. I'm not feeling too good. He said, you sure you're okay? I said, yeah, because I'm still shaking. He said, you don't need to go sick call? I said, no, I'm go back. And I got back to the hotel because that's where they had all the single officers staying. And I sat down on the bed, and I remember thinking, this didn't happen to me. It didn't happen to me. It couldn't have happened to me. Yes, it did happen to me. What are you going to do? And that was on a Wednesday. I went into work on Thursday, and I'm not shaking as much, but my knees, my legs, and everything felt really weak. And you know what that feels like. I got a job to do, but I was like just weak, and I was just praying that I wouldn't run into him. Just praying, don't call me back into your office again. He didn't on Thursday, didn't on Friday, but Saturday morning, showed up at my hotel room, knocked on the door, and most of the time I'd say, hello, who is it? And someone said, don't say anything. And I went to the store, went to the door and looked out the peephole, and there he was in civilian clothes, standing in front of, at my door, knocking. And my heart just started racing. And I backed away from the door, and I'm in the stance of I'm ready to fight. I love my career, love what I was doing in the Army, but I also knew that there were many women ahead of me that this had happened to before, and they weren't able to get out of it, and they were raped. I steeled myself, S-T-E-E-L-E-D, and said, somebody's going to get hurt real bad, and it ain't going to be me, but you're not going to rape me. I didn't answer the door, and he kept knocking, and finally he stopped knocking. The housekeeper came in, and she opened up, hola, hola, didn't say anything. I stepped into the bathtub and pulled the curtain in front of me. And She came in and she's singing and everything. She gets into the bathroom and she opens up the curtain. She pulls the curtain back. And she said, she said, cierra la puerta, por favor. Please close the door. I said, por favor, please. And she said, I said, you asked me. I said, yes. Close the door. And she closed the door and I stepped out of the tub and I said, it's a bad man, bad man. She said, oh, he's in the hall. I said, yes, it's a bad man. Oh, what does he want? I said, he's a bad man and he wants to hurt me. Oh, no. And let me put a pause right there. I've always said to people, it's nice to be nice to people just because it's the best thing to do, it's the right thing to do. And I was nice to her. I was nice to everybody. Always speak to everybody. I don't care what your station is in life, you're worthy of recognition. And so because I had already established that, I'm nice, I appreciate what you do, I respect what you do, that sort of thing, I think that the reciprocity now is coming back to me. And she cleaned up the room and I said, is he still there? She said, see. I said, okay. And I called downstairs and to the lobby, and one of the ladies at the front desk answered. She said, oh, I said, don't call my name. She said, okay. And I said, is there someone down there? And she said, no, not yet. I said, well, can you call me when they do? Don't say anything to them, but just call me when you see them. And when he got down there, the front desk called me back and said, he's here. Shall I send him up? I said, no. And then she said, what's the matter? And I said, he wants to hurt me. He wants to hurt me. If you send him up, he will rape me. And she said, what? I said, yes. I said, can you call me, let me know when he leaves? He stayed down there the entire day in the lobby. He was in the hallway because he knew when I got off the elevator, if I went home, I'd have to pass by him. But then he went to the lobby thinking I was not there. And if I came in, I would have to pass by him. Either way, he knew that he had me cornered. When the housekeeper got ready to leave, she came back and she said, he's still here. She said, come with me. I went with her and she took me down the service elevator and said, run. Got down to the bottom and I was on the deck where the trash containers were and everything. Ran over to my car and jumped in the car. And fortunately, most of the time I would park it close to the front door. But that night, I couldn't find a parking space. I said, I'm going to just park it by the back. And that was the best thing I could have done. I got in the car, turned it on, and started, I'm driving. Those of you that remember the time, digging the scene with the gangster lean, I was like this, oh my goodness, and I'm driving, just trying to get out there. I went to a friend of mine's house, and I'm shaking again. And he said, what's the matter? He's in the military. We served together at Fort Hood. And I told him, and his wife said, girl, I know you're going to report that. I said, no. She said, you better. He said, she can't. She can't. Both of us are captains. He said, she can't. And his wife said, what do you mean she can't? Because if she does, her career is over. That will stay with me for the rest of my life. I was a captain. Never told that story to anybody until I got promoted to 05. And I already had my 20. I wasn't going to tell anybody because I didn't want to lose my career. But what I did do was every place I was assigned, I made sure to, and you can identify the perverts. Those are women, we knew the creepy people. We knew them. And I would always try to identify who they were and then watch where their eyes went to and who they were following around and sniffing behind. And I'd make sure that I befriended them, whether we were the same rank or, subordinates or whatever. And as best I could, I tried to protect them from them. Now, I don't know if that worked outside of, the company, when they were on the civilian time. I don't know if it did or not, but I tried to make sure that happened. And even now, as I think about it, I was this close to having a terminal assignment in Panama. I couldn't get off the island because any orders taking me off the island, he would have to sign. But I know that there were some women who never finished their careers because of that. And I made up my mind. If I was ever in a position to do something about that, I would. And so I've talked to some people at DOD since I've been a senator and shared with them, you have women who never retired. You have women who didn't finish basic because the drill sergeant or somebody approached them and they said no. Or they were raped, and when they reported it, they were drummed out of the system. But the person who committed that crime, and that's exactly what it is, the person who committed that crime went on, they either retired or they got out on their own accord. But several women have not. And so we got to fix that. I'm not done. I'm not going to rest until we fix that. I don't know how we do it. One of the ways I know that we can do it, and that is for women who come forward and they have a story to tell. And this is one of those things that say, well, some people make it up. No, we understand. Women, we're not going to make that kind of stuff up. Because, first of all, it's embarrassing. So we ain't going to make it up. But when they come forward, the very least that we could do was to make sure if they didn't finish AIT, we ought to give them credit for the time served, and we ought to give them access to VA benefits. I mean, that just seems fair to me. Credit for the time you served. Well, they didn't serve a full 180 days. Well, they would have if they had not been raped, or if they had not been approached, if they had not had to fight off somebody. They would have served, going to their first duty station. It didn't matter whether you're enlisted or whether you're officer. I know people who that has happened to. And they simply either got out or they were forced out. A friend of mine, we were in ROTC together in college. She should have risen to the rank of at least BG, Brigadier General. And she got out as a major. She got out as a major after her boss. She was the protocol officer to the general at Fort Leonard Wood. And her boss attempted to rape her in his office. Chased her around and yanked out her blouse, the green blouses that we used to wear, and mint green blouse, and she had Class B's and pants, and she ran out of the office clutching her blouse and her holding her pants up. And she said when I ran out of the office, and they had to hear the screams, and I'm throwing down chairs and everything. She said I ran out of the office, and I was like, oh. And she said people were sitting on the couch and they were like, and she said, and the secretary didn't even look at me, just went right back to typing. And she said, so I reported it. And when I reported it, she said, they started making up ways to get me out. Well, she also had an injury during her service that needed to be handled. She was forced out, didn't get the injury taken care of, and wound up having a premature hysterectomy. So what motivates me? It's stories like that. It's also stories about women who have done above and beyond what was required of them, but never got any recognition. The women who served in combat, Vietnam, Korea, World War II. We've got the 688 Postal Battalion, only all female, all black battalions sent overseas. And they were sent overseas to unclog the mail. And if you've ever had an overseas assignment, before cell phones and computers and things, you know how important mail is. That's the letter that's written, you might not get it until 10 days after it was written, but you live for that stuff. And so they were sent over there to unclog the mail. And they did the first assignment, they did it in less than 6 months. And then they were sent over to France and they unclogged the mail then. But they were in a combat zone. And there were women who were injured because a rocket, was launched into where their barracks were. They came back. Nobody said anything. I didn't know about them until about 7, 8 years ago. But these are women, black women. We had the person that I knew who served was Corporal Lena King, Mrs. King. And she said to me, baby, we did that because we loved our country. And that was during a time when our country didn't even love us. But we did that. And so what fuels my passion to make sure we do the right thing by women who are veterans is the fact that we served during a time when we were ignored, sexually harassed, sexually assaulted, we were demeaned, and if you were black, you were put down by racist people and misogynistic people. All we wanted to do was serve our country. That's all I wanted to do. I remind people that conscription was over, I think it was 1975 when the draft was eliminated. So anybody who served after that time, we served because we wanted to, not because we were made to. And so my sisters, fellow women veterans, we've come a long way, but the fight is not over. And it will not be over until we get justice for those who served and were pushed out by perverts and by an unforgiving system, an unforgiving to us system that protected men, they were promoted, they finished their careers, and we did not. We've got work to do. I want to make sure that every piece of legislation that comes out at the state level, at the federal level, also has an intentional clause in there that will benefit women who are veterans. That means housing. That means mental health, because many of the ones who were sexually assaulted are still going through, MST is a fancy name, is military's fancy name of saying rape. It's military sexual trauma, but all it is rape. But they're going through that trauma. Women who were in combat and they can't really talk about the experiences that they had and what they had to do. Women veterans, we deserve to be not just monetarily compensated, but we need to be compensated with services that are equal to what our male counterparts are already getting. I'll say this, the last thing. Because women are the fastest growing demographic in the veterans community, I think that it's very, very, very important that our voices be heard. And our voices need to be heard on advocacy, and it needs to be heard in the powerful political halls of legislatures. I'm serving now, but I can't be the only one. I can't be the last one. We need to make sure that qualified women who will do the right thing by us and for us are elected to office, and they can help push these policies forward. That is an imperative. I'm honored by what She Serves, She Rose has given to me. But my pledge is, I'm joining you in the fight. I will not be moved until we move together for justice, equality, and equity for every woman veteran that is not just still here with us, but we need to make sure we do the right thing for those who are no longer here. I love you. I'm honored to serve for you. We're not done until justice happens. Thank you.